AI can be used in a variety of different ways. One of the most exciting ways, though, is making human beings more productive, especially in the knowledge sectors. Utilising AI, and there are different ways of utilising AI, but making sure you can use computers in cleverer ways means you can become 40% more productive, up to 200% more productive in your job. This means you can save time. My whole point with this is, with this new AI, fifth industrial revolution, whatever you want to call it, it has to be done for human beings. It's for human beings to save time and become happier utilising technology. AI allows you to do that by making you more productive.
AI has been used absolutely everywhere. It seems that since its release of things like OpenAI's ChatGPT solution in 2021, everybody's taken to it. I believe that they had 100 million users in a matter of months, whereas it took Facebook nearly 4 years to gain that same user group. Everyone's using it, or at least trialling it at the moment. I think there are some uncertainties as to what it can be used for. I think there's a lack of support as well, so there's no kind of government policy to say this is what it is, this is how you must use it. So we're going through a period where people are just trying it, which is wonderful, and people should. Artificial intelligence will allow people to do repetitive, monotonous, repeatable tasks, but automated via a machine. So this is things perhaps that we wouldn't want to do, or tiresome or time-consuming in our job. We'll just have a machine do it far quicker for us.
AI is at present being used in lots of ways around creativity generally. So it's a lot of people using it to write, to get it to write text for them. If you're not a very good writer, you might want it to write text for you. Or if you just want to save time, you might want it to write, students get to write essays for them, that kind of thing. It's being used to create music. This is quite a new thing where it can create music based on a prompt. It can write lyrics for the music, or you can provide the lyrics and it will write the music around it. Video is a big thing that's happening now. It's replacing stock photography. It's replacing all sorts of things that would traditionally be creative works made by humans.
The way I see it used from individuals and friends and people who are very non-tech credulous is really abbreviating documents, ideation, getting cheaper versions of content for presentations and things like that, which I don't actually approve of. I've got a lot of friends who are artists and primary creators, and that bothers me. But within companies, it's very much looking at, have we got processes that are well-defined enough and mature enough to understand the moving parts to then automate them a little bit? And from a deeper dive point of view, people looking at lakes of data they may be collected, maybe their customer relationship database, maybe logistics information, looking at ways that AI can help them wrestle that and get more value out of it.
I think one of my own personal sort of first eureka moments around AI was when I was working with Google. So I was part of the Street View team who rolled out internal capture in buildings in the UK. And we were given these cameras and this training and say, hey, you're doing what the cars are doing, but you're doing it inside a building. So we took these huge, complicated cameras, which hardly ever worked, and started mapping museums and things like this. And we got the images, the raw images, and pumped them all back into the system. And what would happen then is this 360-degree Street View tour would be automatically created. And it was like a magician was waving a wand, because all we were doing was capturing very basic LiDAR scanned imagery and 3D depth map data and mapping that to a rough location on the map. And this AI just did the rest. And what it was actually doing was constructing a 3D model of the space from the flat images and then geolocating that and kind of guessing as to the distances between the captured images and then piecing it all together. And it was fantastical.
The use of AI is really interesting right now because it's not happening by and large at a sort of big corporate level. If you're a sort of chief information officer or a chief technology officer for a big company, you're looking at the possibilities, particularly with generative AI, and saying the risk's enormous, the complexity's enormous, the value isn't necessarily proven yet at scale beyond some fairly narrow applications. So there's very few big applications of it yet. If you're an individual, you're looking at these technologies and going, I can draw my pictures faster, I can make my videos faster, I can write my web copy faster. And so what you're getting is this so-called shadow procurement. So instead of big corporates going, I'll go and buy, 10 million lines of AI, you're getting individuals with their personal credit cards and then expensing it going, I can save half an hour off this job if I go and get ChatGPT to do it. And that's really, I think, the most interesting place where it's being used right now, which is in personal augmentation, stripping away the friction of your personal life or your working life by doing basic things, but often quite creative basic things, faster.
What's challenging is obviously the interface between the human and the AI system, and the fact that there isn't really a manual. And I think a lot of people are struggling knowing how to interact with it, which is then causing kind of these kind of negative outputs or unhelpful outputs. So one of the things for me as a psychologist that limits it is the fact that it's not a biological system. And so unfortunately what we do know is the fact that it doesn't learn very well. So it's quite computational and it works on algorithms. So there's a new piece of research that came out last year that's actually demonstrated that it's not very good at sifting out extraneous noise or variables. So if I'm having a conversation with you, for example, and you're asking me a question, I can focus on what you're saying to me. I forget the lights, I can forget the other noises, I can forget what I might be doing later on, or that I've got to go buy my dinner later. The AI system is not able to do that right now. So what it does is it actually picks up on all the stimulus around and feeds it into what the potential answer might be. So we've actually demonstrated that humans are much more stable in their answering of questions over a period of time. AI wobbles. So depending on what other things it picks up on, it can change its answer. So it's not very reliable in that kind of sense. The other problem we have with it is that businesses assume that just because it does sentiment analysis, that it's very good in terms of understanding emotion. It's not very good. We also know from research that it's probably akin to about an 18-month-old infant in terms of understanding what the emotional underpinnings of something is. It's really bad at knowing why you want to know something. So it doesn't understand motivations. It just treats answers as a flat 2D, that's what you need. But obviously, as human, sometimes we need to know what it is you want to hear from me. Bought a new pair of trousers. Does my bum look big in it? Well, AI will say yes. It won't learn, whereas a human might go, no, it looks good, for example. So, in that sense, it's still, quite medieval. I'm sure it will get better, but, it doesn't do that at the moment.
AI is already everywhere. And I think probably people's biggest potential mistake is to think they can avoid it in some way. You can't. So you have to come to terms with the fact that it already exists and decide how you're going to interact with it. And I think that's our biggest challenge. My biggest interest is in the workplace and teams and so on. How do you interact with a potential AI colleague? Because I don't think we're far away from that.